Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Behind the Reel podcast. This is episode number 38, and today we have Levi Snow on the show to talk about the Columbus Bass Club. They've got some pretty interesting things going on in the southeast part of the state, and we actually ventured out to the strip pits last year. We went to the Strip Pit Bait and Tackle shop over there in West Mineral, I believe. That's their headquarters as well. Our first tournament for the Kansas Kayak Anglers is going to be out there as well. So we just may run into these guys, and if we do well out there, we just may have to join them. I did hear they're allowing kayaks to fish their events. So for all of my kayak guys out there that end up doing really well out there at the strip pits, definitely check out the Columbus Bass Club. We've got some cool stuff going on. And shout out to Strip Pit Bait and Tackle. Those guys out there are got a pretty cool thing going on for sure. Just want to send out a reminder. I did just post some information on the Kansas Bass Nation Kayak Series today. I've been kind of slacking on getting that information out. But what we're going to be doing is piggybacking on 3 events from the Kansas Kayak Anglers. So we're going to do the Strip Pit. We're going to do – well, shoot, I just forgot what we were going to do. But anyways, I posted the schedule up there on Facebook. Make sure you guys go check it out at Kansas Bass Nation Kayak Series on Facebook. And we've got 3 events that will allow you to qualify to fish the state championship. So once the state championship kicks off, depending on how many people we have there, we'll be able to send hopefully more than one person this next year to fish the national championship. And that is actually being ran in conjunction with the Bassmaster Classic. So that's a pretty big deal. I did just pull up the schedule. Sorry about that, drawing a blank. So we're doing the Mineland Wildlife Area. We're doing Perry Lake, and we're doing Big Hill. So those are the 3 qualifiers this year for the Kansas Bass Nation Kayak Series State Championship. So make sure you guys get signed up with Kansas Bass Nation and make yourself eligible for those tournaments. And as well, the Kansas Kayak Angler. So got some cool stuff going on this year in the kayak world. So definitely give that stuff a look. If you guys have any comments or questions during the podcast tonight, we will have a live comment feed going on over here. So we will shoot those questions over to Levi or myself as we go along. But yeah, what are you guys thinking about the upcoming season? It's creeping up on us here. It is February. You've got the MLF kicking off down south in Louisiana. It looks like Jacob Wheeler's running away with that one so far. And we got the Bassmaster Elite Series getting ready for the St. John's down there in Florida as well. So definitely in some warmer parts of the country, but we're not too far behind. So pretty soon all this ice is going to be gone, and we'll be out there fishing just like the rest of the country. I don't think I have any major announcements tonight, but I do want to thank you guys for tuning in. If this is your first time here, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Stay tuned to future content. Kind of the idea of this channel, for those of you that are new, is really just to highlight some of the more local anglers, some of the local clubs, just like the Columbus Bass Club. We've had the guys from the World Fishing Tour. We've had, Mike Boyles on, who is a guide on Table Rock Lake. We've had, people like Oliver Nye and Christine Fisher. So but I really do want to focus on the local stuff, and I want to try to highlight some of the stuff that we have going on in the area, and to help you guys get out, enjoy the outdoors, put some fish in the boat. So I think Columbus Bass Club is going to offer that for several of you guys that want to get into tournament fishing, especially in the strip pits. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to bring him on, and we're just going to get right to it. Hey, what's up, man? Hopefully, we're not having a connection issue here. Let me try something real quick. I'm not sure if he's. I cannot see him. Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes,
We're having some
sir. All
connection
right,
issues.
Levi.
I think we're back in
Yeah.
business.
Okay. All right, Levi. Nice to meet you. You're with the Columbus Bass Club. We
Yes.
might have a bit
Can you
of
hear
a
me?
lag.
I think we
Yeah.
have a little bit of
Yeah.
a
Tell us.
lag.
Okay. Well, tell
Let
us
me
a
get
little
it
bit
fixed
about
here.
yourself. Okay. All right. Well, he's going to try to get the connection steadied a little bit. And I guess if we have to, we may just have to deal with the lag. But we weren't having that before we went live. So, guys, we are live. This is live television. So we're just going to have to make do. Let's see here. I think he is completely frozen. Let's try removing him.
All
Okay,
right.
is
What
that
about
any better? Any better? I don't know. He is just a frozen picture on my end here. I don't know what you guys are seeing. If you guys are viewing live right now, comment over there. Let us know if I look okay or if um, I'm not sure if the connection issue is on my end or his. Since before we went live, everything seemed to be fine. We were just talking back and forth. He was telling me a little bit about the club and some things that I found interesting when we were talking before we went live. I was looking at their schedule, and they do have quite a few events scheduled, and they've already actually had one this year. They had one on January 22nd, and they did kind of an afternoon tournament from 11 to 5 p.m. So I did find that interesting. Definitely fits the time of year. But what they're doing is they're actually fishing all these events out at the Mindland Wildlife Area. So kind of a cool concept to focus on that fishery down there. It's a really unique place. If you guys have never been to the strip pits in southeast Kansas, it is like a whole nother world out there. So um, let's see if I don't think he's back. They got a really cool logo, as you guys may be able to see by his shirt, the Columbus Bass Club. They got the shield there, and if you look at the bottom of the shield, you see Big Brutus there. So that's definitely a landmark in the area. But they do have another event coming up this month, even. So they're the only month of the year they're not fishing is in December. So they have an event in January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. They're doing one event each month, and then they're taking the month of December off. Did I get you back?
I think we might be back now.
Okay. Well, I was trying to kind of fill them
Okay,
in
yeah, there we go.
Okay. I was trying to kind of fill them in a little bit. But yeah, Levi, if you would just introduce yourself and tell us how you got into bass fishing.
I started off here fishing farm ponds in southeast Kansas and then went to the strip pits as I got older and grew up fishing those with my uncles mainly. And my dad didn't do a whole lot of fishing, but my uncles did. So I kind of stuck with them and learned everything they learned. And then from there, it just kind of went to lakes. And then as I got older, we started doing some stuff here in the pits. We've done it for about 10 years in the past, just little jackpots or whatnot over the past 10 years. And then the past couple of years, everybody's kind of got involved in it and started taking it a little more serious. And then we just turned it into an actual club here just in 2021 is when we started that.
Okay. Heck yeah. How would you, for somebody who's never fished the strip pits, how would you describe that area?
It's completely different than a lake. It seems to be a lot more finesse presentations. You can't really go out and fish it like you do a lake. I guess maybe it's because they're natural and they're not dammed like the lakes around here. A lot of them have a lot more grass in them, unlike a lot of the other lakes in this area for me anyway. If you go to my home lake is mainly Grand Lake other than the pits, or Stockton Lake in Missouri. So they're all full of rocks and the pits are mainly just grass. So that's a big difference. But my biggest difference, I would say, is they're more finesse.
Okay. But so for like a visual, I guess I probably should have had some pictures to show you guys. But basically Big Brutus, I just mentioned him, dug a whole bunch of these pits out. They're mining for coal. And once they decided they were done mining, they just either filled up naturally or whatever happened there. And then the state started stocking them with fish, and there's bass and trout and all kinds of stuff down there. But these little strip pits are all over the place, and some of them maybe even under 100, under 100 acres, maybe some even in like the 20-acre size range. There are some very small and then some very large, and they're just kind of spread out all over the place. And a lot of them are very close to each other. I went this last year and I fished one pit, and I hopped in my truck, and it took me about 2 minutes to get to the next pit. It was just, across the road, and I was launching in a whole other strip pit. So for any of you guys that have never been there, it's a totally different world. And if you ever see a drone shot from the strip pit area, it just looks nuts because they're everywhere. And is this kind of how you grew up fishing, Levi, then, in that area?
Yeah, that is exactly how I grew up fishing, out of a little 8-foot scamp or a little John boat. One or the other, whichever one we decide to take out that night.
A lot of good crappie in the pits too? Yes,
they are loaded with crappie as well.
Yeah.
There's good catfish in them, crappie, whatever, bluegill. There's lots of bluegill in them, or perch, whatever you want to call them. Some people call them perch. Some people call them sunfish, bluegill.
We call them bluegill around here.
Yeah. There's all different names. So
I hate it when people call them perch, but you know what? They're not all bluegill either. So
that's kind of what we grew up calling them as, was perch growing up. And then as we got older, we realized, no, those ain't really perch. So
those aren't perch at all.
No, not even close.
Yeah. I called them that too as a kid, but I just, it's like you go to the bait shop and it'll say perch on the sign, it's like everybody calls them by the wrong name.
Yeah, everybody in this area calls them by the wrong name. So
But anyways, it's like a clip in a magazine, right? My dad used to always be on people that called a magazine a clip, Anyways, whatever. Okay, so all of your tournaments are actually based out of the strip pits. And can you explain how that works? Like how you decide what pit you're going to fish that day?
Okay, how the format goes is we all show up to the bait shop, and from there everybody signs up, and then we have a list of the pits in there that are all big enough to fish, and we have them broke down for the number of boats we get, which ones we can go to, and then we just draw out of a hat, and then from there everybody follows each other to the ramp. And then once we all get put in, we fish 4 hours from the time that we put in. Because that's about all you need to fish the pit, and then there's not too much pressure on that single pit since we're going to a single pit. Gotcha. And then we check all the live wells once we get to the boat ramp, make sure nobody went and got any fish or anything like that. Keep everything honest and safe.
Okay. And do you care to share what pits do you know right offhand what pits you got?
Right offhand would be Brutus pit. That's okay. I don't know the exact number of that one. And then there is, I'm trying to think of the numbers of them. 41, I think, is one of them. Both 33s are in there. This year we've kind of opened it up to some smaller ones too, depending on, like in the winter time, we can go to some smaller ones and we don't get as many boats in there.
Yeah.
But okay. Brutus and 41 and 33 can hold around 30 to 35 boats in there pretty easily. and not be too pressured. There's about, I think they got about 5 miles of shoreline in them altogether.
Okay. And what are the requirements for the types of vessels that you guys are allowing?
The types of vessels, all vessels are allowed.
Okay.
So there is no non-requirements. You can fish anywhere from a small kayak to a huge boat if you can get it on a boat.
Okay.
We have seen guys that show up in 20-foot bass boats. It's pretty common. So,
okay.
And we have guys that show up in john boats or kayaks. And with our format, you don't really need an aerated live well because you can bring them in. But if you don't have an aerated live well, then you cannot bring them in. You just got to take a picture of it, and then we go off the weight of that from a formula we use.
Okay. Okay. So kayak guys, some of those little pond hopper, scamp style boats, bass boats, the whole 9 yards, but trolling motor only. Did you say?
Yes, trolling motor only. That is to keep it fair for the guys that do not have the outboards and just kind of a throwback in time type of thing there. And then we also limit electronics. I don't know if you've seen that or not.
No. Let's hear about it.
Yes, there is no front-facing sonar allowed or any side imaging units allowed. So it is just down imaging only. We are back to the old school.
Oh my goodness. So but you can't police that, right?
Yes, it is very easy. If you have that on your boat, you cannot have the graph on your boat. So if you have a side imaging transducer or if you have a front-facing sonar transducer, you cannot have the graph on your boat.
Okay. I'm curious because I'm all for the electronics. That's how I make a living.
We're kind of a throwback there. We kind of went off the record there, which is many guys we have that show up in kayaks and the little pond hoppers and john boats. It's kind of hard to get all that on those.
Okay. Do you think that it would give somebody an unfair advantage?
To bring the front-facing sonar, yes. I have it on my bass boat.
And so how do you compare a day on the water when you're using it compared to a day when you're not?
But when you actually use it and you've seen it using it, you kind of feel lost without it because you can't actually see what you're throwing to, especially in the wintertime throwing a jerkbait. When you're throwing at a suspended fish, it makes it so much easier. Okay. I actually just fished my first one after getting it this last fall, getting the front-facing sonar, and I fished our first one in January, and that was cold water, and I kind of felt lost because I couldn't see anything around me. So going from it to it really messes you up. So that's
So you really feel that if you were to allow it, then it could really change the outcome of.
Yes, I truly feel that way. But we do it mainly so the guys that do not have the money to afford that stuff can come in and fish it too and be just as competitive with the other guys.
And I'm sure, I'm sure there are people that choose not to fish these events because of that rule. But I'm sure there are people that also decide to fish these events because of that rule. So I could see, it could almost open up tournament fishing and introduce people to tournament fishing that maybe didn't feel comfortable stepping into that arena otherwise.
Yes. Yeah, that is kind of what we are designed for.
Okay.
We're here for the guys that want to take it serious, like the Bassmaster Team Championship, and then the guys that just want to go out and have a good time. Okay.
Well, go ahead and elaborate on that. You guys are offering a team trail berth?
Yes. Yeah, the club has emailed Bass, and we got offered that towards this year, and it will go off of last year's Team of the Year. It'll always be a year behind because our guys, like I said, we're just a lot of local guys, so they got to have time to schedule vacation and get off of work. So they'll always be about a year behind. And this year they allowed us to do that, which is great of Bass, and it's great we get to send one of our anglers locally here to a national event. That is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, and from that event, they'll even have a chance to compete for the Bassmaster Classic.
Yep.
So you'll be sending 2 guys?
Yes, and then they'll have to have a bass boat if they do get to that point. That'll be one of the requirements. They have to have the bass boat to go there, of course.
And then, is this a team? This isn't a team style series, is it?
Yes, it is a team style series. You don't have to be a team, but you can fish solo, but you don't have to be a team.
Okay. So how does that work? How will you determine? So the two winners won't necessarily be a team?
Yes, that is usually a team. You sign up, and you don't have to fish as a team all year round, but it will be whoever you sign up and decide as your team. That is how we work. We're a little different because a lot of guys, they like to fish with each other, jump around.
Okay.
But it is mainly who you fish the most events with. That is how it usually comes out as.
Okay.
And we do all our voting comes at our annual banquet, and that's when we go over all our rules and what we're going to do for the season, and we set all the rules in place. So it's not made up by one person. Everybody gets there. Everybody in the club that shows up gets to vote on that.
Okay. What you guys have like you said, your annual banquet? Do you guys make a big deal out of that, or is it kind of
yes? Yeah, that is a pretty big deal for us anyway. We go to a local lodge here. It is Running Rooster Resort, and they set it up for us. They provide us dinner, and everybody shows up. And it's kind of at a little lodge.
Okay.
And then we eat. This year they had a big fish fry for us all. They had fish fries, or a fish fry, sorry, and then we had fries. I forget what else we had. We had a couple different sides they provided for us as well.
Nice. Heck yeah. Yeah, I ended up taking part in the Kansas Bass Nation banquet as the kayak, representative, and they did it up. They do a pretty cool thing there. Got me excited and thinking about maybe doing something like that for the kayak guys. But so you are allowing kayak guys to fish these events, and they are. Would they be? How do they compete?
No, the only way you can fish as a team is if you have two people in the boat. You can only have, so if a kayak guy fishes out of a single kayak, he has to be a single team. You can't have the team spread out. Like two kayaks can't be one team.
Just a one-person team then, basically.
Yeah, you got to be in the same boat together.
Okay. What about a tandem kayak? I've had that question in our series.
If you tied them together.
Or if you had a two-person kayak, they make those.
Yes, a two-person kayak, that would be considered a two-man team.
I guess like a scamp or something is not much.
Yeah, like a scamp, because we got quite a few people. I fish out of a scamp every once in a while as well. So.
Okay. Well, tell us a little bit about, what kind of caliber of fish are you guys catching out of these pits?
It just depends. The biggest one last year was just 411.
Okay.
So we usually range anywhere from 4.5 to 3 pounds. Some of them don't even bring in an 18-incher to win, some of them in the summertime. So it just kind of depends on which pit you draw. Some of them are kind of stunned. Some of the bigger ones are, and they're just loaded with 13-inch bass.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to say we were out there during the summer. It was either late June or July. It was real hot. I think it was July. And we had 40-something kayaks, but what we do is we allow them to fish anywhere.
Yeah, go anywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, so that could obviously yield a little different results, but I want to say, and I know this for sure, the two big fish were both caught by females, I think Shadow had the big fish, and it was like 20 inches or something. It was probably good. High 4 pounds, something like that, maybe 5 pounds.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yep.
I can't remember if it was real filled out or not, but somewhere around there. And then we had the next big fish was caught by Jacob's wife, and hers wasn't too far behind. But that was pretty cool to see the girls show us up on the big fish. And I think somebody came out like the following week and caught a 5-pounder out there somewhere, but I guess the bad thing is we don't know where a lot of these guys even fished at the end of the day. So
yes, there is so much, especially backwater. When you start talking about a kayak, I know a lot of little honey holes. It's just little bitty potholes is what we call them, and they're just kind of back tucked in the middle of nowhere, and you can usually go in there and catch a 5-pounder if you wanted to. So it's, and in a kayak, it makes it a lot easier to get into them. So I remember we as little kids hauling them back in there, a 14-foot John boat or something, and packing it a half a mile to get back in those places. So
Heck yeah. Well, I'm totally new to the area as far as the strip pits go. That was my first time ever going out there, and I don't remember which ones I went to. I don't recall what they were, but the second one that I finished the day off in that pit, I fished two that day, and one of them was extremely clear. Like you were talking about, there was a crazy amount of vegetation in it. It was just overloaded with grass, and the grass was deep. I mean, I could see 15 foot down. I could see the bottom, and there was grass growing up from the bottom 15, 20 feet deep. So
yes, that milfoil is, yes, I love the milfoil, and it grows deep out there.
Okay, we got a question here. Daniel Maffei, he is a southeastern Kansas resident. He is also a kayak bass hammer who just may want to get in on these events. He's asking if we will need a bass pass.
You do not need a bass pass because we are not keeping them. You are taking a picture of all the ones in the slot are pictures right now, so you do not need a bass pass.
So when do you keep them? When do you put them in the live well?
Over 18 inches or under 13 inches.
Okay, so over 18, you can put them in the live well.
Yep, and under 13 because that is the slot limit in the pits.
And then at that point, do you need a bass pass if they're over 18?
You do not if they're over 18.
Because
that is a legal fish.
Because they're illegal keeping size.
Yes. Yep, that is correct.
I got you. Okay. And Daniel, I'm curious to know, it sounds like you're watching this live. Are you talking about possibly competing out of your kayak, or would you compete out of a boat? I would like to know. I don't know. I'm trying to think to myself, if I wanted to compete in these tournaments, I have a bass boat and I have a kayak. So I don't know. What do you think? Like advantages or disadvantages to big versus small vessels?
You talking to me or Daniel?
You.
I would think the smaller boat would have its advantages depending on where we go, because we do draw some bigger pits that have some backwaters. And if you're in the kayak or a smaller boat, you can get into those backwaters, say if you're in the springtime or even in the summertime once it gets closer to dark, because we fish in the evenings now. Once it gets closer to dark, they'll move back there in those shallower waters, and you can't get to those in a bass boat. And that is all accessible no matter what boat you're in. That is the advantages to having the kayak.
Yeah. Okay. So have you had, I'm sure you have, but have you had, or how many events have you had one out of a kayak?
One out of a kayak. I don't know if we've had, I'm trying to think. Last year, we didn't have anybody fish out of kayaks.
Okay.
We have quite a few fish out of just John boats.
Okay.
And scamps, which are similar to a kayak.
We just may have to show up in full force and see if we can change that.
Oh, heck yeah. We'd love to have kayaks. Like I said, we have a lot of guys that fish alone, too, in the John boats and scamps. Just the kayaks, we ain't reached out to them guys yet, I guess. So that is the whole goal, is reaching out there and getting everybody in it. So
you're doing it now. You're talking to all the kayak guys in Kansas right now. They'll eventually watch this episode, and there's a bunch of them down in southeast Kansas that are just completely ate up with tournament fishing. A lot of them know the pits really well. They all have their little favorites. So this will add an interesting concept, so those guys are going to go to their favorite places, on our tournament. But yes, for your tournaments, they go wherever you tell them.
Wherever it is drawn. Yes, that is.
So I kind of like that. It's kind of a level playing field at that point. I guess that's probably the idea behind it.
Yes.
Daniel Maffei said, I may stand corrected, but thought you needed bass pass to cull. How many fish are you weighing in?
Just 3.
3 fish. So you can you keep 3 over 18 then, or 3
Yeah,
under?
if you catch 3 over 18, you can.
Okay. Okay. Cool. All right. Well, casual bass guy stopping by to say hello. CBG, I think he missed out on the Mindland Wildlife event last year. We ended up staying at is the owner of Strip Pit Bait and Tackle, is that John?
I'm trying to think of his name. I always see him, but I can't think of his name.
I can't remember.
Yeah, we actually are not going out of Strip Pit Bait and Tackle anymore.
Oh,
We're
okay.
going out of Columbus Bait and Tackle.
Columbus.
Yeah, it said on the page that we used to go out of there 3 years ago.
Okay.
And then Columbus was kind of right there for the local guys, so we went to them. But Strip Bait and Tackle helps us out a lot as well.
Yeah, and he's got a nice little lodge right down the street. We stayed there, and I was thinking about going down there and just hanging out even when there's not a tournament going on and exploring that area down there.
Yes, I hear it's a really good lodge. I see him posted all the time and a lot of great reviews on it.
Yeah, it's definitely an older, it's an older house that he has done up, and it's all wallpaper and wood panels, and so it's older construction, but that's it kind of gives it that cool feel, but it's done up very nice, and lots of room. I think we had six people in there. There's one room with like 2 bunk beds, so that room can sleep 4, and then there's 2 single rooms as well, and then there's like a couch and a living room. He's got a garage in there and like a grill and a cleaning station for you to clean your fish.
Oh wow, he's got it all in there then.
He's got it.
I've never drove by it and actually seen where it's at. I've always talked to him, but I never asked him where it's actually located there in West Mineral.
It's like the next block over from the tackle shop, and you could damn near see it from the tackle shop. But yeah, you'll have to check it out sometime.
I probably drove by it a lot in my life then. So
yeah, probably so. And then I heard there's some other lodges over there as well, somewhere near. I don't know.
I know there's Claythorne Lodge. I don't know if it's a lodge. I know they do a lot of skeet shooting out there.
Okay. Casual Bass Guy says, any arrangements being made for this year yet? What are you talking about, CBG? What are you talking about? He's got Columbus Bass Club. They have their schedule out. I don't know if that's what you're referring to. But I kind of mentioned it earlier when we were having some technical difficulties. They have already had their first event of the year. Is that correct?
Yes, we have had our first event. We fish 10 regular season events. So it'll be one every month. And then in May is our classic. And to fish the classic, all you got to do is fish one event with us from last year or this year to fish the classic. And then we take, for the team of the year, we take the best 7 out of 10. Okay.
And so what did it take to win that event on January 22nd?
It just took one, I believe it was 3 pounds, 6 ounces is all it took.
Okay.
And there was only one other fish caught in the slot, and I think it was 13.25 inches. So there was only 2 of them caught. And I think there was, I don't remember how many teams were there exactly.
So was the 3-pounder, was that in the slot, or was that?
No, it was just 18 inches.
Just 18. Okay. And then you'll have another one coming up here in about a week or so, February 19th.
On February 19th.
Where did you fish on the 22nd?
The 22nd, I don't remember the pit number exactly. I know let me look it up here. Because I don't remember exactly what pit number it was. I know all the pits by name, so excuse me on that. And if I give somebody a name, they're not going to know what's going on. I knew them all, what my uncles and grandpas called them, and dad and everybody else. Let me look it up.
I need some of that local knowledge because I'm a newbie. Kansas Kayak Bass Fishing's jumping on here. He says the drawing for what pit you fish is a great idea. Wish we could somehow do that for the kayak tournament. I like it as well. I don't know because this year we may have 50 plus kayaks out there, and I just don't feel like, I don't know, I just don't feel like there's a whole lot of pits out there that could support that many kayaks. Maybe I'm wrong, but you talk about a couple 100 acres, 30 kayaks starts to get pretty crowded.
Yeah, once you get, I would say probably the biggest pit out there would be about 25 to 30 boats. And that would be the bigger ones like Brutus and 41 and I think 33.
Yeah. Do you feel like maybe at some point you'll have to?
If we expand, we have been talking about that. And if we did do that, we would have to split them up in 2 different groups and just draw 2 different pits. And then we'd have 2 different winners and 2 different pots, basically. And then the winners would get the whatever, basically be 2 different tournaments, and they would get points for first. Both teams would. And that's how we'd have to handle that.
Okay. And do you feel like, the strip pits are going to always be your main focus?
We are talking about expanding depending on next year, if we can find some other people to run them. That we have talked about, well, the next thing we're talking about is the strip pits, and we're talking about doing a Major League Fishing style, not their format, but just every fish counts. You just take a picture of it, and then whoever catches the most weight or inches wins that tournament. So it don't just go off of your best 3 or 5. And then we have been talking about expanding it to smaller lakes. I'm talking smaller, lakes under 100 acres here in Kansas, the ones that nobody really fishes much.
Okay.
No, like Bone Creek's too big. Big Hill would be too big. Cedar Creek would be too big. We're talking all the little ones. Last year we had our classic on Ellsmore, I believe it was.
Okay. So you're kind of intentionally staying away from the bigger bodies of water?
Yeah. Kind of stay to the smaller bodies that nobody really fishes. Try to do something a little different.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and we focused on the state fishing lakes a lot as in our earlier years, but as attendance grows and stuff like that, and now we've branched out into a statewide deal. So we're targeting all bigger lakes. So we are doing the strip pits. We're doing Melbourne. We're doing Perry. We're doing Big Hill. We're doing Winfield or Timber Creek, and we're doing El Dorado. So, and Hillsdale. But yeah, we're doing all big bodies of water, but in little tiny boats. But yeah, lots of really good fish in those small little like state fishing lakes. I don't know if you guys have a lot of those in your area like we do up here in the Wichita area, but lots of good fish in those state fishing lakes. Did we freeze again? I think we froze. Gosh dang it. Okay. All right, let's see if maybe he can get his computer back up and running here. Let me see. Okay, Casual Bass Guy says MLF as a side pot sounds pretty cool. Like big bass. Okay, are we back? Nope, I thought I saw him blink, but I think he's still in the same pose he was in when he got frozen earlier. Okay, let's see here. CBG, you and John need to pair up and come down the 19th. You know what? That sounds like a really great idea. Ivan, let me know, man, because I can't think of anywhere else I'd probably rather fish in the state of Kansas. That time of year, I know here in a week or so, as long as we don't still have hard water, right? I mean, I guess if they were fishing January 22nd, we should be good to go. Yeah, February 19th is going to be their next one. And then, so they're going to have one per month. And their next one is February 19th. Let me see here. I might even be able to put this up on the screen. It may not be too late Do we have you back, Levi? No, we don't. We do not have him back. All right, give me just a second, guys. I'm going to try something real quick. I think this is a pretty cool deal, though. I really am interested in it. It's not very far away. The strip pits down there, it's just a totally different world. I mean, we went there in the middle of summer, so you had, all this grass and everything grown up, and it was warm. Like, it'd be a great place to go out there and camp overnight, bring you a tent or whatever. So
Yes, I'm back.
okay, he's back. Maybe. Are you still there? I don't know. I think he's still having some issues there. Okay. Well, I don't think. Oh, maybe he's back. I don't know. Holler if you can hear me. Let me try this. Oh, that didn't help out very well, did it? No, that didn't. All right. Sorry, guys. So February, CBG says he is going to Palestine the weekend after. So I don't know about going back-to-back weekends. So he's fishing the All-American Series there. Nicholas Johnson must be a fellow Southeast Kansan, and he's talking about how the service sucks. So probably has some service issues going on. It looks like he's trying. He's trying every now and then. He kind of shows that some movement on the screen there, but doesn't last long. Daniel, who would your partner be? Who would your partner be? Let me know what you guys think about the format on this series. I do think it's pretty cool that he's targeting potentially a different group of people, potentially people that may shy away from tournament fishing. I know there's a lot of people that have contacted me in the past about fishing tournaments, and they'll see that there's I don't know. I wonder if he can hear me, because he's trying to talk and I can hear him for a split second. So I wonder if he can hear me. I don't know. You guys in the live feed, I have a couple of you guys watching live right now that are commenting. Let me know. Is he breaking up like I'm seeing on my end here, or does he seem to be fine and maybe the connection issues on my end? I don't know. Let me know, guys. Put that over in the comments. I don't want to shut this podcast down quite yet, because I have a feeling he can resolve the issue, but probably won't let it go a whole lot longer before we shut it down. But like I was saying, I do think it's a cool concept. I do think he's targeting a different group of people. I think that there are going to be people that may not be interested in fishing a tournament if there was forward-facing sonar allowed, if there were, outboard engines allowed, stuff like that. So I think this really does kind of cater to the average angler, which I do like that. All right. I think we're good. Are we good?
I might be back now.
We might be back.
Yeah, I think we got it now.
I just rambled for about 5 minutes or so there.
Yeah, we could kind of hear you go in and out, and I kept trying to get it going there, and everything sucks here. The Wi-Fi, everything in Southeast Kansas.
The strip pits are one thing you guys got going for you. I really do. I really do think that's a cool feature, like a cool place to visit, a bucket list place. If you're a Kansan, for sure, and you've never visited the strip pit Mineland Wildlife Area, it's definitely a must see.
Yes, it is definitely a must see, and we might be teaming up with the Kansas Wildlife and Parks this next winter. We've been talking to them, and we're going to help them stock some pits with brush piles. We're going to do more stocking this winter.
That would be cool.
We're working on getting our permits for this year, and then we started talking to one of the wildlife biologists, and I think we're all going to get together and try to help him stock some pits. So that would be really neat.
Yeah, no, I think that's cool. Giving back to the resources, you know?
Yes, everything they do to help. I don't know when they stocked them years ago and what they do every year to keep them stocked. I know what they do to trout pit is amazing in there. Bringing the trout out every year for them.
Shout out to Organic on the live feed here. I met him for the first time at the Mineland Wildlife Area event last year. So he has been following the podcast ever since then, or maybe even slightly before I met him. Shout out to him, and look forward to seeing you this year out there again. I believe our event is in April. One of you KKA guys, remind me what the date is on that event, if you know right offhand.
I think it's April 9th, actually. I think I just seen that today.
Okay. I should know that, right? I should probably.
I might be wrong, but I think I seen that today.
April 9th. April 9th. You are correct. You are correct. Do you have a kayak?
I do not have a kayak, so that is where I need to buy one.
Daniel says he got me a ringer. I don't know what that means, but it sounds like a good thing. So congrats, man.
Good deal. Hopefully we'll see some of them guys out there.
Are these tournaments just kayaks, or are boats fishing against boats? So I'll let you answer that, Levi.
It is everybody. It's not just boats. It can be kayaks. It can be boats. Doesn't matter what you got. You just can't fish from the bank. You have to have some kind of a boat.
And then,
or kayak, a floating device, shall I say.
Like you would even do like a float tube or something?
If they wanted to. We did have some guys before it was officially a club. One guy did come out in one of the little, not a float tube, but one of the ones that's got the paddles in it for his feet.
Kind of like
paddled around in it. But it sits down in the water. Where you sit down, you just barely sit above the water, kind of like a tube, and you paddle yourself with your feet.
Yeah, I think that's called a float tube.
Is that a float tube? Okay, yeah. I don't know exactly what it's called, but
I think so. I've only been in one time. I went with a buddy, Keith Severns. He, you know what? We need to get Keith on this podcast at some point. Keith does something really cool. He targets flathead catfish with artificial lures, and he's pretty dang good at it. And he fishes out of a float tube. But anyways, I went with him and tried to target some big flathead. Didn't pay off for me. But another guy that we all know on the Behind the Reel podcast here is Casual Bass Guy, and he kind of got his start fishing out of a float tube, and then he kind of migrated over to the kayak scene to join us. But yeah, those guys can really get anywhere.
Yeah, they can go just about anywhere. It just takes a lot of work paddling around with your feet. So.
Yeah. CPR opens the door for a small boat circuit. So I think, yeah, I think so. I don't know.
Yes, that is kind of our goal, is just a small boat circuit. Like I said, we started out with mainly John boats, and then the guys kind of showed up with bass boats, and it's a little more comfortable to fish out of a bass boat. But I usually fish out of my Scamp too, or the bass boat. I usually just bring the bass boat because all my stuff's already in there. So
yeah,
if I bring the Scamp, then I pack it in there, and then I don't have the stuff I usually need when I bring that boat.
What kind of boat do you have?
I just have a Pro Craft, so nothing fancy, but
yeah. And are you running Garmin LiveScope then, or?
I am running the Rance products.
You're running.
Yeah, I got the new the Active Target. Yeah.
Okay. I sold a few of those today.
Go
ahead.
I still hear the Garmin is better. It's still more advanced though to set it up. So that's where.
Ask Josh Jones what he thinks. He seems to like the Lowrance better, and he is.
Me, I like the Lowrance, but I haven't ever used the Garmin. So.
Yeah. So for anybody that is looking for some non-side imaging Marine Electronics, we got a pretty good deal going on right now with Lowrance Carbon 9s at Russell Marine Products. We got some of those in for $800 without a transducer, or $900 with an active imaging 3-in-1. So there's a little shameless plug for Russell Marine Products. Nicholas says he remembers them shutting down the pits for a couple years to stock when he was younger.
Yes, they still, I don't know if they've ever shut them all down. I know every once in a while they shut some of them down for a couple of years to restock them. Actually, that brings me back to a memory of mine that was a fish that was well over 10 pounds years ago. We went in right after they opened the pit up from being stocked out. They shut it down to stock it, and then we went in there right after they opened it up.
Wow. So
and there were giants in there.
Is that the PB to this day?
No, I didn't catch it, so it got away.
Oh.
Yeah, it was a giant bass.
Oh man.
That's the one that got away in my life.
Yeah. Well, the one that got away from me wasn't near that big, so I don't feel so bad all of a sudden.
Yeah, no, that was only when I think I was 15 then or 16, so. And I still have not seen a bass that big yet.
No, I could imagine so. Daniel says that a float tube in the mine lands is pretty awesome come the summertime heat. I could see that. Cool you right up.
Yeah, that would be nice when you're out there sweating.
We were sweating our butts off out there this last year. It had to be late January. I'm sure I could probably get a date, but it had to, or late July. I don't know. Did I just say January? Late July. And I think it was, in like 100 degrees or something that day. And it was pretty brutal. And I did have to finesse them. So I will agree that my time on the Mineland Wildlife Area was spent, at least the catching part of it was spent kind of finesse fishing.
Yeah, the finesse, really, it's finesse and plastics is really what they go for.
Yeah.
We did have some tournaments last year that were won on jigs, but that was in the earlier months. And then once summer kind of hit and the warmer months came in and the grass came in real good, the plastics really kind of took over.
Yeah, I was catching them about 15, 20 foot of water on a bizbaits, bizbug, kind of like a, beaver style bait, I guess is what you would say, on a real like quarter ounce weight,
Yeah, 1/8 ounce is about as big as you want to go in the summertime. I do throw them on a little bit on a 1/4 ounce in the post spawn before they really move out in the summer. Then it seems like they really want a lightweight after that.
Yeah, actually, I think it was an 1/8 ounce. Now that you mentioned that, because I am not comfortable fishing that small of a weight. So I just remember feeling like I was totally out of my element. But hey, it worked. Do you see guys fish any big baits like this out there?
We have seen some guys throw those years ago. This past year we did not, but there 4 or 5 years ago when we were just doing it as little friends group out there, there was a couple guys that was throwing some of those.
Yeah.
Rumor has it that's what they caught I think it was a 4.8 or a 4.10 on that tournament as well. So
okay. Yeah, I'm sure with as much bait fish as I saw out there, like, sunfish and bluegill and stuff, something like that would probably get snacked up pretty quick.
Yes, there is some. I do have a buddy that has caught them on some swim baits as well. Just you don't see as many of them, but usually when you catch one, it's a good one.
Yep. Heck yeah. All righty. Well, so you've got an event coming up. And then, so how does your classic work? So your times are kind of all over the place. How did you guys determine the times of these events?
We determined at the meeting. We used to hold mornings, and then some of us couldn't make it in the mornings, so they said, let's go with the afternoons. And we hold them because it's 4 hours from the time you get to the pits. We got to figure all that in for the January and the winter months. We got to be all there before dark. So that's where they change as they go. And then the classic is 6 hours is what we go off of there.
Okay.
And we start that one in the morning.
Yeah, so I'm looking like your January one was 11 to 5. February 11:30 to 5:30, March 1 to 7. So are you trying to capitalize on
Yeah, we're trying to capitalize on the evening bite as well.
the
Try to
evening
get
bite there?
yeah, where it's not quite dark but evening.
Yeah, I guess all year long you really are, right?
Yep, that's why the times kind of change as the seasons go along there in the months.
Okay. That's cool. Yeah, you guys are just doing something totally different all the way around, aren't you?
Yes, that is what we kind of sought out after, was to do something a little different. That's kind of what all the guys in the club agreed on at the meeting there, and we're going to do that every year from now on, is have our annual banquet, just go over all the rules there. If there's any problems with that, we'll get them changed. If anybody wants to change them, we vote on that from all the members that show up. We used to have the A rig was actually outlawed, and they brought it back this year. So
Oh man,
everybody agreed. Everybody agreed to bring it back. So
forward facing sonar's next, baby.
yeah, that's. I don't know about going that far yet.
So no side imaging even.
Yeah, no side imaging either. So.
And I'm curious, did you rule out side imaging because you didn't basically want to allow a 360?
Basically, yes.
Because a side imaging transducer in and of itself, probably not a game changer.
Yeah, not really a game changer on a trawler motor.
Yeah, right.
But like the 360 is kind of a game changer.
It is. I got one on my kayak and I love it.
Yes, the 360, especially paired with the front-facing sonar. I do not have the 360 yet, but I need to get that, or Lowrance. I guess Lowrance has one now. I just got to get the Ghost on there.
Hey, I know a guy.
I'm looking into that here. I just spent $4,000 here back in November, so
okay.
I got to save up more money to throw some more stuff on there.
Did you go with a Live 9?
No, I went with a HDS Carbon 16. So,
gosh, dang. Okay.
Yeah, I went all out.
Nice. Heck yeah, man.
The 16s, the carbons are kind of on sale because they're discontinuing them. So I took advantage of that deal there.
Yeah.
Jumped on top of it.
Yeah, I think we were selling those for around $2,000, I believe, back then.
Somewhere. Yeah, I'm trying to. With it all together, was $4,000 or $39.94, I think is what it was.
Heck yeah. Organic says, last year was my first time on the pits. Lost a giant on a frog just before dark. Can't wait to go back. I agree. I can't wait to go back either. I think it's going to be fun.
Yeah, I'll have to come say hi to all you guys. Are you guys weighing in there? You guys holding the awards at the bait shop, or?
Yep. We'll be at at the West Mineral one, strip pit bait and tackle.
Yeah, I'll have to come in and come see some of you guys.
He's got a nice place, man. He's pretty handy. I mean, if you look at that bait shop, I mean, he did it up. He did just as good of a job on that lodge I was telling you about.
Oh yeah, and he ain't just whatever you need, he's got it too. It's not just fishing stuff. If you need any handyman work or anything in there, he's got it all, from extension cords to, it don't matter what it is, it's in there.
Yeah. Heck yeah. CBG needs some side scan tips, apparently. Yeah. Heck yeah. A lot of us guys have side imaging on our kayaks even. So that's something too. Like if we go to one of these tournaments,
yeah, you just got to go. That's what I do with my bass boat, is I just go without the graphs. So
just completely without it. Man,
it is kind of, not seeing the water temperature is kind of the biggest killer for me. I got to get a little water temperature gauge in there, especially in the winter months.
Yeah, we're just kind of spoiled.
Yeah, not seeing that water temperature, it makes you wonder the whole time. You're like, is it 35 degrees or is it 45 degrees? What is it?
And you guys, are these pits not frozen over? Or?
The last one, there was actually only 3 of them that was not froze over. So we all went out and all took different routes, and we seen which ones were not froze over the day before the tournament. And then we drew put the ones in the hat that was not there, not froze over, and we drew those. So, and the one we drew was actually, the back quarter of it was still frozen. So,
you think things are going to look better or worse as far as
but right now they're all open. So,
are they?
Yeah, they most of them are, because we fished most of the bigger ones, so most of them are still open. They don't usually freeze over too bad.
Okay. Well, I think I might try to find me a partner. I might grab Jake aboard and bring the Skeeter out and compete with you guys down there. I don't know. I just might. I think
Yeah, we'd
Daniel's.
love to see you out there. So we're
Heck yeah.
slowly growing and hopefully reaching out to you guys. And if I ever get me a kayak, I'm going to jump in with you guys. So
Yeah. Well, I'm sure there's people from all over the state right now looking for somewhere to fish, and so if you guys want to jump in on this deal, how do they compete? Is there like a membership fee or something like that?
there is a membership fee. It is $20, and $10 of that, every member must be a Bass Team Championship or a Bass Team member as well.
Okay.
So that is $10. It's a $20 membership fee. The $10 goes to Bass, and then the other 10 goes towards trophies and plaques. We give away trophies at every event to first place, 2 of them to first place, and 1 to Big Bass. And at the end of the year, we give away a Big Bass plaque and a Team of the Year plaque.
Okay. And so if we want to come out and fish this event on February 19th, we'll pay the $20 membership fee.
Yep. And then there's a $30 membership fee. There's a $20 entry fee, and then a $10 Big Bass. So $30 altogether if you want to jump in the Big Bass pot.
Okay. Okay. So $50 would get.
Yep. $50. Yep.
And then if you had,
it's per the $20 is per member. So it'd be
member.
$70 altogether for the team, a 2-person team for your first event.
$20 per angler, and then split the 30.
Yep, that's correct.
Okay. John, do you still have the ability to do demos? I don't know what you're talking about, CBG. What are we talking about? Kayak demos, I'm assuming. If so, it's probably just something I'll have to do on my own time, with whatever kayaks I have at my, whatever kayaks I can get a hold of at the time. So right now, that's only a couple different models, but I don't know. Oh, maybe that's what you're talking about. I don't know. But anyways, well, anything else that maybe we didn't touch on? Anything that you want guys to know that may be interested in fishing these events, or how they can get a hold of you or other members of the club to get involved?
The best way would just be go to our Facebook page. It's Columbus Bass Club, and you can see us. You can see the logo there as our background picture or our profile picture on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And you can just find them there and write them, or you can write me personally, or you can write Matt Havlin, Travis Hodgson, AJ Winsel. They're all right there in the group of being in charge. So we don't really have one man that's in charge. All of us kind of run everything and talk to each other on any decisions that's made.
Okay. Yeah. So if you guys are interested, go over to Facebook, Columbus Bass Club. Definitely check them out. And I do like the logo. The logo is really sweet. So shout out to whoever did that.
Yeah, that would be Corey Estep. I think that. I don't know how you pronounce. I might have messed up his last name there. I've never actually asked him how to pronounce his last name, so that's how it looks like. It might be Estep, a step, not sure, but that's what he does, is graphic design, and he just joined our club for the first last year, and I think it was one of the first times he'd ever fished, and he beat all of us. So,
oh wow,
he's kind of jumped on board with us, and he designed that for us just right after that. So that is really neat of what he did.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to Corey, right? You said Corey?
Yep, and he made our schedule too that you seen there on the picture. So he did all that good stuff too. So
yeah, that looks good. That looks good. Yeah, don't feel too bad. I had a buddy of mine. We've been friends for 5 or 6 years, and more so from a distance. He's in Missouri, Branson area, but we have fished around each other and stuff, and for years. And I actually learned how to say his last name on this podcast when I had him on the podcast.
Oh, nice. So
don't feel bad.
Yeah, if he's watching this, he's probably going to let me know about it. So
yeah, it's like, hey man, that's not how you say my name. No, but
he's a Bengals fan, if that tells you anything. So
oh man,
I'll throw that out there.
Well, he he still did the red and yellow for the
Yeah,
color.
yeah, that kind of killed him to do the red and the yellow. So
that's funny. No, those guys that have different last names like that, they're just used to it. They don't even care anymore.
yeah, they're like, yep, okay, I understand.
Yeah.
Well, like mine, it's kind of hard to mess mine up.
That's true. That is true. All right, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on the show, and I think it's cool what you guys are doing down there. And if you guys are interested in getting involved with the Columbus Bass Club, you're talking $20 to get signed up as a member for the club, and then you're looking at another $30 team entry fee to participate in one of their events. So, different format I've seen. They've got something different going on down there. So, especially this time of year, February, where else are you going to fish a tournament? This would be a really good way to step into the tournament scene for the year and practice a little bit for what's yet to come. So, if you guys are interested, make sure you reach out to Levi Snow on Facebook or give them a shout at Columbus Bass Club on Facebook as well. But appreciate you joining us tonight, and looking forward to possibly seeing it out on the water, whether that's
all right.
one of your events or
John. I appreciate you putting us on the podcast here. It was great talking with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And keep doing what you're doing, and hopefully before too long I'll be down there and fishing with you guys. I'm sure you'll beat up on me because you're all locals and you know all the honey holes, but
I don't know about that. It seems to be a lot of beginner's luck when some new guys always show up. So
yeah, heck yeah. All right, man. Well, I appreciate it. I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Thanks for hanging out late with me tonight, and you have a good one.
You too. All right. Thanks, John.
Bye-bye. All right, everybody. That was Levi Snow. Appreciate him coming on the podcast here. You know, when we set this podcast up, you know, I kind of knew that it may not be the most viewed podcast, you know, that I've done so far. And I think that's okay. I think that, you know, the intentions of this podcast are to make people aware of the opportunities that they have right here at home in Kansas. You know, we may branch that out to the Midwest, right? We may talk to people on the national scale, but at the end of the day, I think that our main focus is to make people aware of the opportunities that they have right here at home, because there are a lot of people that may not know about the Columbus Bass Club. There are a lot of people that may not know about the Kansas Kayak Anglers, right? So I think that if we give these people a platform, and even though my platform is very small, you know, we're at 700 subscribers, right? Even though that is a small platform, that is more of a voice, you know, or a reach than they had before. So, you know, that was my goal, basically, was to use this platform to help spread the word about kayak fishing, to help spread the word about, you know, the Air Capital Kayak Anglers or the Southeast Kansas Kayak Anglers, Flint Hills or Southeast or Northeast rather. You know, and I think that now we have seen that kind of grow into one group with the Kansas Kayak Anglers. So happy to see that. And I'll be happy to cover the winners of these events at the Kansas Kayak Anglers tournaments this year. And, you know, really excited to see how that whole thing shakes out, because you have 4 clubs, and you know, we have a lot of really good anglers individually in each club, right? And you have the guys that are just hammers year after year. And you see new guys pop up, obviously, and they do well, and they, you know, you'll see new guys become hammers as well. But I think what I'm really excited to see is, you know, let's say the 5 guys that have always done really well in Air Capital. I'm really excited to see how those guys stack up against the 5 guys from Southeast and the 5 guys from Northeast and the 5 guys from Flint Hills, right? You know, to see those guys, or does it just completely get shaken up? And do we have somebody who has not performed as well over the years, somebody who, maybe somehow finds a way to step it up, in these larger scale events. So I think we're going to see a lot of things change. We're focusing more on bigger bodies of water, where some of these more local events in years past, we have focused on, state fishing lakes and smaller bodies of water. So there's a lot of changing variables that are coming this year. I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to talk to guys like Levi that represent clubs like the Columbus Bass Club. And if you guys have a local club in your area and you want to jump on the podcast and you want to talk about it and you want to try to get more people involved in the sport of bass fishing, let me know. Hit me up on Facebook, hit me up on YouTube. Make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe, be engaged, be involved. We're going to try to tell as many people about bass fishing as we can. Doesn't have to be strictly kayak or bass boat or whatever, swim baits or whatever. We're going to do it all, try to cover it all, and try to introduce people to the great outdoors. So appreciate all of the support week after week. A lot of these names are familiar that you're seeing come across the screen during these interviews, and I really do appreciate that, and it really does go a long way. So, guys, thank you very much. Episode 38 is a wrap. We're creeping up on 40, and before you know it, we'll be in the hundreds. So, guys, appreciate you guys tuning in. If you haven't already, hit subscribe. Make sure you check out all the other podcasts that we have in the podcast playlist. Really good content to listen to while you're driving to work or you're driving to your, to go fishing. I spend about 40 minutes or so on the way to work every day, and I do enjoy listening to podcasts. So it also brings up another thing. If you guys are listening to this podcast or watching this podcast, where do you listen to your podcast? What app or whatever? I guess I don't really know a whole lot about that, but where do you enjoy your podcast material from? So I know there's several of them out there. Let me know, because here pretty soon I'm going to have 40 podcasts loaded for audio for you guys to enjoy. So anyways, guys, appreciate it. I'm going to stop rambling, sign off here. Have a good one, and we'll see you on the next one.